louder than I thought. These are all on.
Well, I made a bunch of noise. That's why it's on.
No, no, mine went on. Yours went on. Josh and Jim not here.
No, it's just the three of us.
Time being 7 o'clock, I'll call a council meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America. To the republic.
Public participation. If you've not already done so and you'd like to participate or talk, please fill out a form at the back and hand it to Tammy. If you'd like to speak on agenda item, just indicate that on the form. If not, public participation, you can indicate that on the form. Please state your name and address. Kathy Dom. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy Dom. I live at 1590 Post Oak Lane, Bartonville, Texas, just right here behind town council, and I get to see all the stuff that's going in down here, and that's really why I'm here. Okay, I've moved in here a long time ago when Bartonville was truly rural, and it's really getting away from that. And I just think that there's certain things, certain lines that you shouldn't cross, or there is a point of no return. And I think sewer down here at the corner is that point of no return. I just think there's too many, other obstacles that can come before you. It's a can of worms. I just don't think you really want to open up. I think when most people came in down here to these businesses, they knew that they were on the septic. I know that they were on a septic, and I don't know why at this point in time in their life they'd want to change that. And I don't know why they think we should have to change our lifestyle for them. So I just think that, Bartonville's not really structured around commercial properties. If they want to be commercial, I think Bartonville Town Center was set up for that. And I think that's where they need to look if they want to go commercial and if they want sewer, because that's what that was all about. And that's what that was developed for. So, I'm really opposed to sewer. And every time it's on the agenda, I will be here to oppose it again and again and again. I'll probably be opposing it from my grave. So I would really like you guys to vote against that, and let's keep Bartonville rural. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Lisa Pomeroy.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Pomeroy. I reside at 4712 Barron's Road in Colleyville, Texas, but I'm also the Health Services Manager for Bureau Veritas. And I know that we're coming up for signing us, and I just wanted to make sure and let y'all know how much we have appreciated working for and with the town of Bartonville, and hope that you've been happy with the services that we've provided with our plan review and inspections on your retail food establishments, and we'd like to continue. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Murphy. Did I pronounce that correctly? Murph, thank you.
Name's Matt Murph. There's no Y, so it's not a typo, but a lot of people get it wrong. Almost family gets it wrong. It's all right.
Sorry about that.
No problem. I just wanted to speak up a little bit on the event center that is planned to go in over here. My wife and I serve with nonprofits all the time, multiple nonprofits, and they're really, for me, there really aren't a lot of places to have events. We do the same thing with where our kids go to a tiny little school that all its events are kind of outsourced into areas. So I would personally like to see this. I do live in Bartonville. I've lived within a stone's throw of this building for 12 years. So I'm familiar with the area. I think Marty has also set a standard of running a ridiculously well-run establishment. The customer experience there, from my standpoint, has been unbelievable. His employees are fantastic. He seems like he gets the right customers, gets the right employees. So I like the vibe that's put in over there. And I think it's actually pretty small. So I don't think it's, living in Hat Creek, I don't have to drive too far to see houses that are bigger than that event center. So I'm in favor of it, for it, and I hope it gets built.
Thank you.
So-
Appointed representative liaison report, Denton County Emergency Service District, Jim Strange.
Report. This was the day before I got out of the hospital, so I was kind of I've got the information now.
I'm glad you're doing better.
The first item I put on the last report is in regard to the American Heart Association Gold Plus EMS Award. This is a really big deal. It really is, especially for a district our size. And if y'all recall what 2.5, 3 months ago, when we had that map, it showed all the areas and the efficiencies and effectiveness, and we were like 18 minutes or 18 whatever, where everybody else is down to or up to 22 and 23 minutes. And there's a little blue dot right there just south of Denton. That was us. So this is just accolades further supporting the efforts and the accomplishments of this fire department. So, okay, for the month, EMS 146, fire 125 for a total of 271. As they state, they haven't taken the phone number out of the book. They're going to go over 3,000 this year. That's a lot of calls. We cover a lot of ground. Light siren, 1 minute and 11 seconds. A response time, 7:05. I tried it again, Bobby. I couldn't get here in 8 minutes. So unless somebody's sitting over the hill. But I know they got those lights and noises, right? Okay. And average time on scene was 22 minutes and 30 seconds. That increased a bit because they went and helped out some folks over in Ponder or somewhere. I'll cover here in a second with a little forest or grass fire or something like that. Average response time remains at 6:54 because I didn't get an update report, which is excellent. We had two brush fires, one EMS injury. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. In other words, the injuries without motor vehicles. Still some sick people here, 12 people. So, or accidents, and one motor vehicle accident with an injury. The rest I broke out comparables for the district where we serve, but we do go outside of the district with the agreement that they have. And I don't see that one, so I'm going to jump and quit wasting your time. Many of y'all know that we appointed the fire chief. They said they searched the entire country. They didn't need to waste the time. He was right down the street here in Carrollton. So Assistant Chief from Carrollton, Ricky Vaughn, will be joining us. Probably, I'll find out tomorrow night.
January?
Will it be
I
January?
think it's January.
Because I know Mac's sticking around for 2 or 3 months, but if they keep running into each other, I've been there. He gets real clumsy. So if y'all don't have any questions, yes, sir.
I have one, on that average time on scene, is that 22.30 minutes per 271 calls? Wow. That's eye opening. Yeah,
That's not just us. Remember,
yeah, right.
granted, we're only 15 and there's a lot of minutiae that I'm not reporting on, which is door and locks and things like that. I don't want to hear about.
Right.
But somebody's pretty substantial.
It is, yeah. Thank you.
And usually that runs in 17 to 18 minutes. Like, okay, y'all have anything else? Let me know. Phone's in the book, books on, you know. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Police chief report.
But we didn't get to do this last meeting, but we're gonna do this tonight. We're gonna formally announce or let y'all get to know our last and most current hire, which brings us to full staff of 5 patrol officers and then me. He comes to us from several places, but mainly Alpine, is it? South Texas. So he brings some of that up here. His name's Colby Scudder. We're gonna let the mayor officially swear him in tonight.
I, Colby Scudder. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of police officer for the state of Texas and the town of Bartonville and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state. And of the ordinances of the town of Bartonville, Texas.
And the ordinances of the town of Bartonville.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. We'll get right to the stats that I provided y'all. So I think you have it in your agenda packet. This will be the month of August. Our calls for service, which typically would end up in a report of some sort, were 89, had 6 medical calls. And you can see how they're broken down there. And then the officer initiated calls were at 295. Of those officer initiated calls, 108 of those were traffic stops, which that's gone up a little. So total calls for July were 354, total calls for August 390. We had 2 crashes, one of which was at McMakin and Broome, 1 vehicle versus tree, and another crash at 407 and 19 Ely, and the tree's okay. The tree survived. That was a 2 vehicle crash, no injuries. We have been able to wrap up some cases, so we're currently have 2 assaults that are active and 3 identity thefts. For better news, coming up right around the corner is National Night Out. It's going to be Tuesday, October 4th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. over here at the Lantana Community Church. So everybody come over and check us out. Tammy works. We know she works hard, but she works hard on this too. She does a lot. And this year is a new addition to what we're going to do. So you probably saw this sitting up here. She's been wanting one of these for several years now, and she finally got one. And thanks to some generous donations from several of the sponsors, and a couple of them are here tonight. She's going to get to let y'all play with it. So we have drunk goggles is what they are. So it simulates from 0.08 to 0.15. You put them on, you try it. We're going to set up a cone pattern you can drive, and it's pretty funny. But anyway, we're going to have food, games, music. Going to see all kinds of police equipment. There's going to be some interesting ones here this year we haven't had before. Emergency vehicles, cotton candy, popcorn, face painting, medical helicopter, bounce house. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
2 new additions is Texars was Texas Search and Rescue. A lot of them live in this area, and through connections of Officer Scudder, who is helping me with this event this year, they'll be out and they'll have canines and do demonstrations, as well as All American Dogs will be set up with the booth, and they will bring 1 dog that is available for adoption if anybody's looking for a dog. So.
Other than that, we'll probably post again on Facebook, I'm sure, to remind y'all one last time. Also, just kind of putting your calendar, October 29th, which is a Saturday, we're going to have the National Drug Take Back. So any prescription drugs or any over-the-counter drugs that you guys want to get rid of, or anybody that you know, feel free to tell them to bring it on up here, and it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we'll take it, and that's that.
Might add, we get a lot of questions when people bring those in or drop off, Dave, on what to do with syringes. And I found some information that actually saw another city had it from TCEQ, and we posted that on our website, and provides the instructions on how to dispose of those.
We currently don't accept syringes or liquids. Anything else, just make sure it's not illegal, because there will be a police officer there taking it. So.
I mean, no question that.
And you said Tammy's going to demo that.
She is, absolutely.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Town administrator, that.
So we'll go to your monthly financial reports that Tammy had passed out earlier. We'll start with our revenues, and this is of August 31st, 2022. Sales taxes, again, with about 8.3% of the budget year left, we're looking around 92%. Well, we're at 97% of budget, so we expect to be over 100% once we put that final month in there for sales taxes. Property taxes are going to come in right just about 100%. It'll be 99 point something percent. That we're actually at 99.02 right now. Franchise fees are also running very hot at 117%. The other and transfer, again, that one's kind of the strange one because of that grant. We'd probably be closer to 83-84% with that grant in there. That was the $59,000 from Lantana. That's not Lantana, it's the
Denton County.
Denton County, thank you. We'll talk about this a little bit later in the report. You'll see development fees are actually at 104% already. As permits and inspections are at 120% of our projected revenue for the year. Lots of permits, and you can see that in your reports as well, that we're receiving lots of construction permits. And as the gentleman mentioned about Hat Creek, we have some very large houses under construction, so the fees are so they're substantial, but they are commensurate with other communities as well. So again, we're in line with those charges. They just happen to be very nice homes. And as predicted, municipal court is catching up. We were lagging way behind on municipal court revenues. Now that we're fully staffed, we're 95% of budget for municipal court. We think we'll close out at 100% for the year with that one added month of September. If you'll go to the general fund, this is where we're going to see some interesting numbers. We are running hot in administration. Again, a lot of that is going to show up as our consulting fees. And of course, you had an interim administrator. Now y'all have me on staff, and we also have full staff in the front office as well. Police is still running pretty lean at 72%. That's where we're going to balance out. We'll do budget transfers at the end, actually in October, for cleanup for the audit. So we will move money around to balance out those accounts. So we won't be over budget. But we will be in specific categories. Just that's how it's happened throughout the year, that some of those have gone a little hot. And again, some of that's related to all the development. So our engineering and consulting is pretty high. Again, municipal court, we're starting to catch up there, but their fees or their expenses are still running about 84%. And transfers, again, a little high. I'm going to look at that and see why we're over on that one. But again, that one's really minor right now, and we can fix that with a year-end budget adjustment. If you look at administration on your next page, again, we would hope to see about 9% of the budget left in each category. We actually have a lot left in several, but the contracted services, where my engineering is 25% over budget. And again, that relates directly to the big subdivisions that have showed that revenue that's over 100%. That's where this is balancing out, so that we're showing big costs in there. So again, we would like to see 9% of the budget left, and I'm showing 4.14% left in administration. So again, we will have to balance that out for the audit. I'll bring budget adjustments in October during the meeting for y'all to look at. Police, again, they were lean for a while, and now they're fully staffed, but they are still showing overall 27% left in their budget. So chief, don't go crazy. I'm going to be taking some of that to balance us out. And if y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them on the broad financials for the month of August. If you'll go to the next page that Tammy handed out that I've got somewhere. Oh, it's in the back. It's actually in your packet. Sorry. The quarterly investment report is required. I didn't tab mine this week. Sorry. And actually, Tammy worked on this one with our CPA that we've been using. Tammy, do you want to go over it?
That's okay.
Give me time to find mine. Thank you. So this shows you where your money is. The budget shows you where we're spending it. This shows where your cash is sitting in your accounts. And again, as of April, your book value was $4.3 million. As of the end of the month in June, you were sitting at $4.1 million. So again, this does follow the city's investment policy. These are very safe accounts, which is why you're not getting a whole lot of interest. If you see the interest income in there, it's relatively low, but again, that is a very safe place for the city's cash to reside while we decide where to spend it or where to save it.
And this is the second quarter, third quarter.
This is
will be
second-
next month.
This is second quarter. So we were behind, and third quarter will be presented in October. Don't have any questions on that one? Again, that's statutory. We got behind on getting it to you.
No.
You've got your other reports in there. I can answer any questions you may have on those. We do have our engineering report this month. And that's all I have, Mayor.
No other questions? Okay, thank you. Consent agenda. This agenda consists of non-controversial housekeeping items required by law. Items may be approved with a single motion. Items may be removed from the consent agenda by any council member by making such a request prior to the motion and a vote on the consent agenda. Number one, consider approval of resolution designating the Denton Record Chronicle as official newspaper for the town of Bartonville. Number two, consider approval of a contractor services agreement with Steve Kohler for building inspection services beginning October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, and authorization for the town administrator to execute the same on behalf of the town. Number three, consider approval of a contractor services agreement with Brad Hodges for gas well inspection services beginning October 1, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, and authorization for the town administrator to execute same on behalf of the town. Number four, consider approval of contractor services agreement with Annalisa Griffith, RSDS, for OSSF services beginning October 1, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, and authorization for the town administrator to execute the same on behalf of the town. And number five, consider approval of an agreement with Bureau of Veritas North American Inc. for health services beginning October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion on
Make a
agenda
motion.
items 1 through 5? Keith?
I just have a quick question for that. On the contractor services agreements, the annual expenses for each of those, are those fairly consistent from last year?
Yes, sir. And again, those are budgeted items.
Okay.
That's part of our contracted services. Those are all rolled in there in our budget.
Consent agenda number one, number two, number three, number four, and number five.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Regular items. Number 6, discuss and consider approval of request from the owners of Bartonville Store and the Guidance Preparatory Academy for inclusion in the town's approved sewer service area. Staff report, Thad.
Mayor, the staff received a request from the Bartonville Store and the Guidance Preparatory Academy to be considered for inclusion in the town's approved sewer service area. And again, we've just recently updated that sewer service area, and that does include only the Bartonville Town Center and Lantana Town Center surrounding the Kroger currently. So again, this request is being made, and I don't know, Ed, do you have anything to add to that? You've got the
No.
letter in there for the request.
Okay.
And the owner is here as well.
Yes. Hi, Tim.
Thank you. I'm Tim House, representing the Bartonville Store, 96 McMakin Road in Bartonville. And before I go any further, I'd like to, first of all, thank the town because you have been a great supporter of our efforts at the store ever since we bought it. And no matter how this goes tonight, you are all our friends, and we thank you very much. Catherine Taylor from Guidance Preparatory Academy is also here. We have not really colluded that much. It's just that I found out she was looking to attach to sewer at the same time I did. It's just the two properties that are applying for permission to connect to an existing sewer line. We're not asking for an extension of the town's sewer system, any sort of expansion of the town's sewer system. All we're asking for is permission to attach to the line that's in the road in front of our properties. So we are actually very much in favor with the whole concept of keeping Bartonville country. Speaking for the Bartonville store, it's part of our identity is, people come here from Dallas and they think they've come to the hill country again. And I get great comments for that. So the last thing I want is to be in the middle of the suburbs. So I hope we'll be able to present a case tonight to show you that we're not out to change the character of the town. We're trying to make our businesses run more efficiently. I just would like to respond to one comment that was made that if we wanted to do business in Bartonville, we should be at the Bartonville Town Center. I have nothing against the Bartonville Town Center. It came about very nicely. Marty's done a great job. They've done a great job down there. It came about 120 years after Old Town Bartonville. So, okay. I'd like to describe what we've got on our property. Excuse me, this is the store. This is Guidance Prep. And we will acknowledge right away that even though we're the only businesses applying, whatever happens has implications for the three businesses between us too. Okay, Tammy, did you forget the battery?
Like this way,
What's that?
like this way.
Okay,
Well, it didn't happen. Then I'll move it for you. Go ahead.
okay.
It's very finicky.
I want to show you roughly what we have at the store. This is our property and what we've devoted to our septic system. We have trash tank, grease trap, 4 tanks for holding, a line leading to the drainage field. There's 7,500 gallons of holding tanks on this. There's a 2,000 gallon grease trap and a 1,000 gallon trash tank. So it's a fairly complex system, which is a good thing. It serves the property pretty well, but any system like this with its complexities has maintenance issues. Every time you have a bend in the pipe from one tank to the other, you always have potential to clog up. And so we have lots of maintenance issues with our system on an ongoing basis, not just the occasional coming in and emptying the tanks, just continuing systems. We have operations complications at the store. In order to reduce the amount of water that we put through the system, we use a lot of disposable plates, bamboo plates, which cost 25 to 50 cents each. So it's a little bit of an economic impact. We would prefer to use regular plates and do the dishwashing. When people leave a half-empty glass of water on the table, we take it and we water the plants with it. We don't pour it down the drain. So we're trying to be very conscious and water efficient. The toilet restrictions are the biggest thing. In a public place, there's going to be things flushed down the stool that should not. And I can tell you that Michael and I have become pretty expert at going out in the middle of the night while the place is busy listening to music. And we jet the lines, try to see if there's a float stuck, do whatever to keep the business operating. So in short, we have ongoing issues with the septic system. I think I could legitimately say it puts us at a competitive disadvantage with other restaurants in town. Oh, thank you. A lot of people think that where our little entry sign is the end of our property. We actually own another 1/3 acre between us and the vet clinic. That 1/3 acre is completely devoted to drainage field. That's the nature of our system. We can't do anything with that property except mow it. And it's it does a nice job of taking care and draining properly. We haven't had any problems of it backing up. But it is a use of land that we'd like to have available for other things. So essentially, I just say that our septic system encumbers our ability to run an efficient business. So I want to make that clear. I'd like to invite Catherine Taylor up now to speak about her business, and then I'll come back.
Hi, I don't think I've met any of you, but my name is Kathy Taylor. My husband, Mark, and I own Guidance Prep, and we have been in business for 14 years now in Bartonville. So we've always been very thankful and appreciative to be a part of your community. We tend to kind of keep our heads down and focus on our children in our school. I think that I'd like to start off with just kind of giving you a little history around our challenges with our septic system. We have 17,000 square feet and 17 bathrooms with children who tend to leave the faucet on and tend to do what kids do. So our septic system is massive. It's, as a matter of fact, there's only one company in the area that will even attempt to service our septic system. And over the years, we have had quite a few problems with it. It's a system that big is going to break down. We're going to have failures on it. We've had, alarms go off. The issues that we've had with our septic system, even though we address them as soon as they happen, those issues have created a lot of animosity with the neighbors behind us. When the alarm goes off, it's irritating because, as Murphy's Law would have it, it's going to happen in the middle of the night when nobody's around except the neighbors who are trying to sleep, right? So we have, unfortunately, have very tense relationships with the neighbors behind us. When the alarm goes off, it's irritating to them. It's something that we, try to manage. Our septic field, our lateral lines for our disbursement actually take up a full acre of land. So if you can, I didn't bring pictures of our property, but if you can envision the creek that runs through our division, the portion behind the creek is fully dedicated to those lateral lines. And so we've had ATVs go out there and play on them. Just a few months ago, we had a neighborhood kid behind us in a truck that tried to attempt to do wheelies or donuts on our property there, right on top of the lateral lines. The land is so wet that they got stuck before they could do that. And they were sitting there for quite a few hours before a tow truck could come help them out. So, I mean, we're trying to be good neighbors. We want to be good neighbors. We've avoided any civil or criminal litigation or anything like that against the people who are damaging the property. But it would help us if we could do away with the system so that we don't become such an irritant to the neighbors behind us. So that's the first thing. Is we've gotten very nasty voicemails from our neighbors just with the concerns that they have, and we don't want to be that way. We want to be efficient. We want to be we don't want to be an irritant. Okay. The second thing I would say is that we are now faced with $60,000 of repairs to the lateral lines in our leach field. And you all know that the cost of childcare is outrageous to begin with anyway, because of the expenses that we have involved. And all of those expenses are passed on, just as with any business. The expenses that you have are passed on to your customers. So helping us to minimize our expenses as best we can and be more efficient would do nothing but help our families who are using our services to help manage their day-to-day lives. So any thoughts or questions for me? Since I don't know you all, I'd be happy to tell you anything about our business that you'd care to know. We're licensed for 312. To be honest with you, I don't know where the state thinks we would put that many kids. So we are full at 240. We have a wait list in many of our classrooms. We've had parents on our wait list for up to 2 years to get into the school. Some of the rooms we've been able to open up spots in. So we're able to accommodate some people a little bit more quickly. We have a staff of 35 and we have a lot of fun. So you should stop by and see.
I know your drainage field runs out just south of the road, that street right next to the bridge that goes up to the tree line. Is it?
Right.
And I think there's only about 25 or 30 foot that's covered there on that. Do you have more room on the south side of that to go further into that piece of that 1 acre?
No, because of the Corps of Engineers, the way that our lateral lines are designed, we're butting up against the area that's allowable by the Corps of Engineers because of the proximity to the waterway.
I mean, going south.
going south.
Yeah.
No, there's
further.
the tree there, and then we have the right of way of the township for we pretty much filled that space
Good.
that we're allowed to fill.
I know you've got one line that's up against that tree line. I didn't know whether you could go any further south than what you're already there.
I gotta be honest with you, we had engineers come out and look, since we are faced with completely stripping and redoing the lateral lines now. They pretty much said that it's got to go back in the way it is. And one of the challenges that we have, and with the density of the lines in that space, is that it stays very marshy. So, we have had complaints because the grass gets too tall over there, quite a bit actually during the springtime when it rains on top of that. We get lots of complaints that the grass is too high, but you can't get a mower into it because it's really like a rice paddy in that area of the land.
Your lateral lines, I think, are they 6 foot apart?
I
down
gotta be
to
honest with you, I
there.
don't know. I don't want to give you anything that's wrong.
Have you had a septic system engineered look at that about moving those lines? The reason when they first lay them out, according to what I've been told by the engineers, is that they space them 4 to 6 foot. So once the effluent creates a biomat, at some point that system will fail, and that allows them to, since it only takes up 4 foot, 2 foot on either side of that line, they can move those heads or that lateral line back to the center of that, and that creates up another 3 foot on that center as it runs down through there. I didn't know whether you had checked into that or not.
Knowledge is far and above mine, I have to say. I don't.
Conversation, going over there and
Yeah.
talking to them about it, because you do have a lot of knowledge about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot more than most of
Well, that's just an option. I don't know whether you've had that researched or not, because
Well, I gotta be honest with you, we have spent to date, we calculated, we spent over $150,000 in repairs and maintenance, and we had to completely replace our septic tanks. Quite a few years ago, actually, it was only a couple of years after we opened, because, well, we just installed it correctly, but that's not the point. The point is that the amount of money that we spend and the cost, the ongoing costs of maintenance for a system this size, it's just so unnecessary when we can just tie right in across the street. And it does away with all of that. It does away with all of the neighbors' concerns. It does away with our concerns every time a toy gets, it's just unnecessary. And we really want your help to stay a part of the community, to be good neighbors, to be, to help our business run efficiently.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
What I'd like to show you, and I think you are all very familiar with what the plans were for sewer, that when you all developed the relationship with Lantana, I guess it's technically Denton County Freshwater District number 7 or something. I'm just going to call it the Lantana District. This is the first area that was to be served. This is the Bartonville Town Center, which includes Marty's Place, a great place. Would be great with a convention center there or an event center. So I'm all for that too. As you know, every time a new business comes in, the decision's made to allow another sewer connection there. Okay, the second one, please. This is the Kroger Center. Again, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's a nice commercial addition to the town. I shop at Kroger's. And again, whenever a new business comes in, it's allowed to connect to the sewer there. The next one, please. This was the third area intended. And this is our property. I'm actually lot number 1. And Guidance Prep is lot number 5. This is the area, the third area that was provided sewer service. It was decided sometime after that provision that we weren't going to be able to hook up, but it's in the ground and ready to go. There was another area that I just, so you get the full picture. It was even considered at one time to go down and get the church, serve the church. That was not done. So if you'd go to the next one, please, Tammy. Thank you so much. Just as an illustration, this is looking at the store from the east side of the street. This is a sewer manhole right here. This, in our case, the sewer is already plugged over right there to our property line, stubbed out, waiting to hook up. So again, we're not talking about extending the town sewer system at all. We're talking about bringing the service area in conformance with what's been installed. So I know there's concerns people have that if we do this, I've heard extremes of properties much further west are going to be coming in wanting to do apartments because we hook up to sewer. I'd like to go over why I think that is really not a correct concern. Now, let me tell you that I'm not an attorney, as you have an attorney. I'm not an engineer. You have an engineer to advise you on these matters. But I was for years a community planning consultant who wrote community master plans, zoning ordinances, subdivision regulations, growth policies, how to encourage growth, how to deter growth, et cetera, et cetera. So I know a little bit, not enough to speak over whatever Mr. Voss would say. But I believe that you have lots of protections. First of all, you go to the next one, Tammy. This is the town's zoning map. The area we're talking about is right here. It is a very small area. There's no reason that needs to influence what goes on anywhere out here. And the next one, please. How can you control? If you put in the sewer, I'm not sure why that makes you think you lose your control or you compromise your control of development. You have procedures and ordinances. You have a master plan and zoning ordinance. No one can go out there and build something high density without an affirmative action on your part. You'd have to approve a master plan to conform to that. You'd have to approve the zoning, and then you'd have to approve their application. I just don't see a developer being able to come in and force you to do that, whether we have our sewer turned on or not. You have already specified in your sewer policy, there will be no sewer for residential. We're not asking that be changed at all. That remains, and that should discourage anyone from trying to go in and do apartments. You have done a delineation of the sewer service area, and what I'll call that the power of the line. You can retain that power of the line. We're just asking that you put it at the back of our properties, so you allow us to connect to the sewer that's in front of our properties. Now, I've heard that your concerns might go to future councils not wanting to abide by what this council feels and what the residents believe now. I would suggest to you, there's a solution to that. Service in the first place is because of an agreement with Lantana. You can reaffirm that agreement with Lantana, being very specific that these are the only areas, the areas originally intended, that will ever be served. And that way, a road council in the future doesn't necessarily have the power to do anything unless they can convince the district to do it. And one last thing I'd just like to say, the line across from us, it's an 8-inch sewer line that has the capacity just to serve this small area. It cannot be extended. I wish the engineer was here to verify that with me, but it cannot be extended to serve a much greater area. 8-inch, and Clay would know this, it's just got a limited capacity. It was designed to serve only this little area. So hopefully you can see that I believe anyway, you can help us run our businesses more efficiently without jeopardizing your ability to control development. And that's the reason we're here asking for your help. And it would be a great help to our operations. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Tim.
And thanks for letting me take all this time. I know I rambled.
We have two people that would like to speak publicly. Pat Adams.
Pat Adams, 1221 Glenview Lane. It makes a compelling case. My concern is, where do the exceptions stop? I hear what you're saying. I listened very closely and it was very educational. I'm still concerned about her stepping outside what we've already laid out. Sewer is one more thing that separates us from getting more than what we want. We want to be country. We want guidelines. We've got a master plan. We need to stick with that. We have a sewer plan that we've agreed to, and we need to stick with that. I feel their pain. I hear them as business people. And I understand the commitment that you made to the community, and we all appreciate that. But I don't think you should approve this. Thanks.
Thank you. Brenda Latham.
Hi, I'm Brenda Latham. I live at 630 Badminton Drive here in Bartonville. And I'm a business owner. And I can tell you as a business owner, you don't go into business haphazardly. You make very detailed plans. In fact, I was in attendance at the city council meetings when Mr. Tim came, and he spent a lot of money and a lot of investigating on the sewer system that he would need to turn the Bartonville store into the awesome restaurant that it is. So as a business owner, you plan for those things, you research those things, you have to know what you're getting into. And I, as a business owner, I totally sympathize with the cost of doing business. But as a business owner, the biggest thing that you watch is your operating costs. And you know what your operating costs are going to be. Those are not surprises. So you came into Bartonville to run a business, and we appreciate the businesses here. But moreoverly, we live here. And there's a reason we live here. And the reason that we live here is because of our ordinances, because of our master plan, because of the way the town is run. We attract a certain type of resident, and the businesses that we attract know the type of customers that they're going to attract. It was said earlier, that Marty B is, he does do a phenomenal job, and your smoky meatballs are just amazing. But anyhow, he knew the demographics that he was going to draw to that restaurant, right? He knew the prices that that demographic could afford to pay at his restaurant. He knows what the operating costs are going to be. Tim knows the same thing. The daycare knows the same thing. Operating costs are not surprises. You know what those are going to be, and you plan for those. You knew when you put the business at Bartonville Town Center or at the Bartonville store that there was no sewer line, that you were going to have to invest, and you were going to have a septic engineer come out and design a septic system just for that Bartonville store to become a restaurant. You knew as a daycare that you were going to have a massive septic system to be able to have that daycare in that specific location. And unfortunately, that should not change. I hate when businesses have to encounter such a thing, but that's one of the things that you need to think of as a business owner before you move to that location. What are your limitations? Again, I moved to Bartonville for a reason. Y'all were elected for a reason. We like Bartonville like it is. And unfortunately, those who think opening up the sewer line won't bring high density housing and blah, blah. Yes, it will. It's one more gate being opened. And I don't want to live in a community that I moved from. I want to live here and enjoy the quality of life that I've worked so hard for in my life to be able to afford. I appreciate your service. I appreciate the businesses that we have here in Bartonville, and I would hope that they would understand the reason why we call Bartonville home and respect that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I would like to go into executive session now. So time being 7:48. We're now in executive session. We'll go back here.
Oh, forgot to move that. The time for it.
You just gotta put it halfway in. Yeah, it is. I just thought.
I think that's the right. Oh, you can adjust this, and I think just that's the right that you're doing, because it gets the. it gets the- But it's one about. Yeah. I got mine. She's the one. Toward the street that. Wall of grass. And brush was thinking under the street. And have I- yeah. And then the ones that are about EAY. All the rest. You can pick them up and put them in. I just cannot pick them up. I can do it. And I'm done. He's like, no, Mom, I'll do it.
Took him about 30 minutes to get all that done. I'm just sitting in the house, watch the weather, and there's so many. So you finally meet him. Like, well, no, he did, that was, but I'm so. Which paid. Which was the deal when they lived. Yeah. And then your friend. Used to. Whenever she. He knew about his wife. And trying to count on anything and everything he could. But when the line is strong, just wouldn't pay a cemetery. And she He's like,
Because I got best friend.
We like that.
And then he.
You know, there's so many, they're all. That'll be-
Yeah. I'm fine with that. That's what you guys want to do. So about 3 weeks later. Then he followed up when I went after church. He and my mom. Here's dad. I already said yes. And the whole other whole conversation. Yep. No, I wonder. Then I. They're here. There's no. And I said, I know you know the answer. I know it's one of those. Then showed us. Never said a word.
I don't think we were doing. The other two destroy themselves.
Yeah, it's right, it was right down there. Oh, it's right here. There you go. I saw it go rolling by. Oh, no, bad time to open the water.
Everybody ready? Time being 8:10, we're reconvened into open session. Council discussion?
Really don't know where to start. Because this is really quite involved. Uh, You have mixed emotions on what really has transpired and where we go from here. You know, we were all elected, as we've been reminded, on Keep Bartonville Country, and part of this is with the sewer system and our actual master land use and our septic. So I've not had one favorable response other than from what we've heard tonight from the two individuals asking for this. Overwhelmingly, the response I've gotten and the questions and emails and so forth has all been on the negative side of not allowing sewer into Bartonville. However, when you're a businessman, and I talked with Tim and visit with him before he bought that, when he purchased that, and to me, the most important thing was to get that septic system designed and get an engineer so that he'd understand that what he was going to be up against. And he, of course, he did that. And the great thing about that was the engineer that I think he got also knew our engineer, and they were friends, and they were able to get this thing worked out between the two of them to get a system that would work. But, you know, when you're in business to grow your business. Because I don't know anyone that's a businessman, a smart businessman that goes into it saying, I want to leave my business be stagnant. Well, it goes against everything that you really stand for when you go into business. And I understand that, but you know, this is such a unique situation that, Tim, that you find yourself in, and I sympathize. But there's a lot more to it that the citizens have put in their thoughts and expressed their feelings. And it's really difficult to make that decision, but for one, I would love to be able to do something for you and to help you out. I was in the restaurant business, and I've shared that with you. I spent 3 years in it, so I know it's a marriage, what you're going through, because you got to live with it. And it goes against everything that's in your grain of not wanting to grow your business and being limited by the sewer system. And I understand that. And there's no simple solution to it. And I first and foremost want to say, I respect you for what you've done for Bartonville. You've took block one and made it into the edge of country. And that's a great statement. And I use that quite a bit when I talk to the citizens. But having said that, my heart and feelings are torn apart because I'm not able to do what you want done. But then I have to answer to the citizens, and that's where I come off on that. But I wish you success, and I'll be there to help you any way I can. Thank you.
I empathize with both of the property owners, I do, but it has been made clear to me from the citizens of this town on what they want. I'm here at their discretion and to exercise their voice. So while I may empathize with the property owners for that reason, I'm not in favor of this. So.
I'm not gonna belabor the point with repeating the same thing, but we all know why we're here.
Have a motion?
And that we deny the request for accepting sewer to these two businesses.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Council. Number 7, conditional use permit site plan Marty B Event Center. Public hearing to consider ordinance amending the town Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Article 14.02, Exhibit A, Ordinance 361-05, zoning ordinance by amending Chapter 12, Village Center District, Article 12.2, uses permitted by granting a conditional use permit and for approval of a site plan to allow for operation of an event center use located at 1001 IT Neely Road. The planning and zoning approved it by 5-0. Staff report?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Again, to go over, this is an application for a conditional use permit. And you, as part of that, you also get to see the site plan. The site plan has been reviewed by the town engineer. There is still one issue related to possible drainage that I talked to Chris today. That will be addressed at a later time if y'all approve this tonight. It should not hold up the site plan. There was no comments from the planner. Again, this is allowed in this zoning by conditional use permit only in the Village Center zoning district. Again, P and Z, they voted, if you look at their packet on page 81, those are the conditions that P and Z put on the conditional use permit and recommended forward to you. And again, it has to do with security. That was the primary concern is, Marty had discussed that they would probably have 2 bars. So anytime there are 2 bars open, there will be 2 peace officers. Then it breaks down into participants 1 to 50 is 1 police officer or 1 peace officer unless 2 bars are open. So again, that the bar factor certainly plays into that. And then above 201 attendees, you would have 3 certified peace officers. And the ordinance that Tammy passed around, Ed has put together, and again, that addresses definitions for peace officer. It was important for the chief that these be licensed peace officers. We were not looking for security since they would have to call our police force anyway. And again, the condition is that the event center coordinate with our police department on security because chief would like the opportunity for his people to meet whoever's going to work out there if they happen to not be working those events, to know what they're dealing with. And we don't want any hotheads working any of the events over here. We had 2 comments during the public hearing at P and Z in favor of the CUP and site plan. We've received 6 comments from Bartonville residents, which are included in your packet. As well as staff has not received any negative comments or emails on the CUP or the site plan. And the engineer and Marty B are here to answer questions.
Okay. Thank you. Marty? Do you want to say anything?
Yes, no.
Howdy. Address 2664 FM 407 Bartonville. I just want to say I'm excited and hopefully we can get to a place where we can get agreeable on the terms and the conditions for us to be able to open it. I just had there's really 3 things that I was concerned about. 1, not having conditions that made the cost to build so prohibitive that it disrupted the build. 2 would be anything that would disrupt us being able to serve our customers. And then 3, anything that would compromise the safety of the community. So it looks like we've solved.
Marty, did y'all have a chance to review? Were you okay with those provisions that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
That Ed put in there? Okay.
Y'all have any questions or?
Go ahead. I just have a quick one. I know you were going to coordinate with the chief, the schedule of events, right? So they'll know what's happening, what's on the agenda, what's coming up. Do you have an event planner or somebody that's going to be doing that?
Yes,
Sending
ma'am.
him a schedule or an update or however?
Well, I have an event planner currently, and then,
Okay.
you know, have good communications with people that own event centers. And I spoke with one today for about an hour on the phone and just kind of learning and listening to what, you know, what it looks like to operate them. And they have a staff of like 14 for an event center that seats about 300. So, you know, I hope that we have demand that'll allow us to have staff that'll support all that and be able to accommodate whatever challenges there are. But ultimately, we'll identify a point person that communicates with the town. So you always know what events we're going to have and how many people will be there.
Yeah.
You know, but just in talking with him, the average size is about 200, 150 to 200. That doesn't mean that we won't have any that are bigger than that, but he says that's kind of the sweet spot.
I just want to make sure the chief that knows, whoever's on duty knows what's happening that weekend or whatever. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Marty, I just wanted to tell you that
Thank you.
the conversations I've had since the planning and zoning this past week was, their concerns primarily was the sound and then security. And when I shared with them as to what your statement was about, especially getting our police department involved and our chief, is that goes a long way. I mean, you've been through the ups and downs through the council and with the town, and you've risen to the occasion to do whatever's necessary in order to get to where you are today. And I commend you for that.
Yeah.
And I certainly appreciate your attitude, because it's a marriage is what it is. And we appreciate that. You've done a lot for Bartonville, something that no one else has ever done. So I thank you for that. And the citizens, they appreciate you willing to help out on the security and be as stringent on that as you can, because after all, our responsibility on the council of the town is safety is primary first. And you address that. And as long as that sound is not any louder than Marty B's, and especially the homes that are out behind there, I think the developer has been telling, and so is probably your sales staff will tell that, you know, they've got to listen to you in order to build that house back there behind them, because that's going to be something that they have to live with. As long as they know that up front, then buyer beware. But I appreciate it.
I did make sure the homeowners know I'm not going to charge them for the music. It'll be free.
Well, thank you. Bart.
They appreciate that, I'm sure.
I just want to be a good neighbor.
Point taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay.
Martin.
Yes, sir.
I took the time to review the P and Z on YouTube video. I listened to the whole thing. So my primary two concerns were about security and then noise. Based on what I've heard from the P and Z, that I'm satisfied, I'm comfortable. I'll first say that I have no doubt that you'll build a beautiful facility and it will be run top notch. You're a good business owner. You've done good work here. My main concern, which you may remember from last time, is the noise. You've indicated that the music is primarily going to be inside.
Yes, sir.
Based on what I saw in P and Z, there was really nothing done about that other than we have the existing noise ordinance. So there's nothing that would prevent you from having outdoor music there from what I can see, based on what's proposed or the in the CUP or the definition of event center. So that would be Ed. I mean, you can tell me whether there's any limitations.
The site plan doesn't show any areas, if I recall.
No, it's more like a big grassy area back there, but
Most of the people that I've talked to, they do all the music inside.
okay.
And the other reality is that most of those events go past 10 o'clock. If I did it outside, then I'd be limited, right? Because most weddings, when does the music start? It's like 9 o'clock, right? And so you want the folks to be able to enjoy the music. And everyone I've been to, the music's inside. Then you get outside to like get a break,
Get away from it.
take a breath, you know, get away from the noise, get away from other people, you know, especially if it's kin folks, you know. So that's my intention. The only thing we did say is, you know, I didn't want to be restricted to be playing amplified music. If it's like a ceremony, we're playing Here Comes the Bride and there's like a song or two associated with that, you know, if it is live music, it would be kind of like an acoustic unplugged kind of thing, but you know, there may be some amplified music for that, but I'd have to live within the sound ordinance on that. But I don't have any intentions of doing live music outside. I already have that next door.
That was one of my main concerns there. I get the bride's gonna want to hear, here comes the bride, whether it's unamplified via guitar or quartet or whatever, that's fine. If it's through speakers, you know, as long as it's just not,
Yes,
you know, cranked up, but you know,
100%.
just enough where the people in the tent
can hear it. Yeah, the ambiance.
So
And I think
get that,
we'll,
and I
you know, with
understand.
those landscape berms, I really think that'll help too, you know, with the landscaping and the higher berms that I think will help contain some of that.
And you're gonna plant trees along the top of that berm, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Help with that. And then, you know, Doug and the McAdams group have done a great job putting all that together. So, yeah.
Marty, I just say I'm excited for it, for you and for the use of that property. I've gone through there a couple of times. It's a tough piece of property to figure out what to do with and to come up with this and, you know, we were all here for the last one. We talked through a lot of these concerns and I'm glad to see that we're involving the town in the way that we are and keeping Chief and his team involved in what's going on there. I'm excited for, I mean, this is what I do is on the largest scale in the world, these large scale events. And I'm excited to see what comes out of that. So
Thank you. I've been, you know, Bobby and I have a great relationship and I think when we opened, I think there was Bobby and an officer or two, right? So I'm thrilled to we have 5 officers. I remember the first time I was out on that property and I had backed up to like the ditch and I was loading something up and Lance came and was going to write me a citation. He thought I was dumping trash, you know? And so I was like, no, actually, I just bought this property. I'm actually taking stuff off of it, not throwing it out. Yeah, because so many people used to dump trash on that acreage there. So we're excited to be able to do something positive with it. And I think we'll be able to do something where it keeps the rural feel, you know, with the fencing and all that. So thank you.
Question, what are your expected hours of operation do you anticipate there?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect most of the events would be in the evening. But I don't see us doing any event beyond midnight, like
Finishing.
all
By
that,
midnight.
we could restrict it and say past 11, but I think midnight's usually fair on that. Most people have pretty much left the space by then. The other thing too is that, most of those people leave those events at different times. I don't think it's going to be like church service and all of a sudden everybody's leaving. So I don't know that it'll have a tremendous effect on the traffic patterns on that.
Well, I got one other thing I want to tell you. When you mentioned that, it sort of brought it to my mind attention. I went up there probably once a week since they've been developing that hill back up in there. And when they took that old Kelly sand pit, see, that was supposed to have been filled up years ago and been taken care of, and all that area up in there dressed up. And with what you've done with the foresight that you've had and the commitment you've made, you've taken making a purse out of a sow's ear. And you're doing a great job with it, because I can't believe that hill up there turned out the way it did. And I will admit that I've contributed to that hole in the ground up there. It used to be old Kelly sand pit. This is 40 years ago. I hauled a few loads of sand out of there way back in the day. So to see you do something with it and help to make this constructive, we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks
doing
for the
that.
opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it. Thank you. Time being 8:27, open the public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak in favor? I know there are 2 people that would like to speak. Misty, is it Mateus? Did I pronounce it correctly?
It's Misty Mess.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'm at 1009 Hat Creek Road. Yes, I would like to just speak on support of the event center. I agree that there's not going to be a traffic issue, just the timing that they're coming and going. I'm in the area all the time, obviously driving there on 407, and in the evening, that's really not the backup time. So I support this kind of a establishment that's not going to be too much on 407. I'm excited for another Marty establishment like you guys are. It's, they're beautiful. And it just makes me think that, like, if we are not friendly towards someone like Marty, what could be there? And currently that space, if you look at what it's already like approved for, one of the businesses is a sexually oriented business. And I read that and I'm like, okay, this town and our community, we need to get behind things like this. This is what Bartonville represents. This is family, this is community. And I just think about all the other cities and towns, even Argyle, they would love to have a Marty in their town, building and bringing up things in such a positive way, such a great place for their children to work and to learn ethics and whatnot. And so I just want to make sure that the town of Bartonville, that we just stay committed to supporting things like this. And not only is Marty a good business owner, he lives here. He's one of us. We need to be voting for us. And that is really exciting to me. I just want to close on one last issue and just want to appreciate the police in Hat Creek. There's been some really weird following of children with some cars and vehicles and some really scary things. And they've suggested we consider the flock camera. And my husband's on the HOA there. And I believe that we're looking at approving that to coordinate with what you guys are doing. And we have noticed as citizens a lot more surveillance in the area and whatnot. And so we just want to say we appreciate that and please continue that. I really do think there's something odd going on. There's been 2 different major instances I'm sure he knows more about, but we just really appreciate the attention when there's scary things in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. David Nicholas.
For allowing me to speak. Been a resident of Bartonville for all of about 4 months.
Okay, your address, please.
909 Dove Creek Court
Thank you.
in Hat Creek Estates. My wife and I moved there in May and quickly found Marty B's. And did a little research because I felt like Marty B's is an institution and it's been there forever. Come to find out, it's only been there 4+ years. I couldn't believe it. It's a first-class restaurant. It's operated by a first-class person. He cares about his people that eat there. He cares about his people that work there. He employs a lot of people there in the town of Bartonville. He's since opened his coffee shop. He's since opened his takeout business. So his business is continuing to grow and add to the Bartonville Marty B atmosphere. I can't wait for the event center to be approved and to open because I know that Marty B will make it an institution that going forward, we won't believe that it's only been there a couple of years once he gets it going. So I'm all in favor of the event center. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Would anyone else like to speak in favor? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition? No. At this time, 8:31, I'll close the public hearing. Council discussion? Okay.
Just about everything.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Excuse me, Mayor, everybody. I think just by way of reminder, if you are going to do a motion to approve, be sure you include whether or not you're including the recommendations from the P and Z regarding the security provisions.
Yep.
I would make a motion to approve the conditional use permit and site plan for Marty B's Event Center, including the provisions outlined by the P and Z.
Thank you, guys.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, council. Number 8, discuss and consider approval of ordinance approving and adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022 and ending September 30th, 2023.
Thank you, Mayor and
Staff.
Council. To clarify, this is the budget piece. We still have to have that meeting on the 26th for the tax rate. So again, this does not require a supermajority. The tax rate does, as well as a roll call vote. So sorry, still have to have that one. The budget before you takes into account all of those things discussed during our previous workshops and meetings, including taking that beginning fund balance and transferring $1 million into a street improvement fund that is council designated, not restricted, as well as transferring the 282,000 into the reserve fund to give a fund balance of 600,000. The enhanced benefits, the long-term, short-term disability is also loaded in this budget. And those other enhancements as far as the paying for 50% of dependent coverage, for the staff. And by the way, they were very appreciative as a group. They really, I thought that was great. All loaded in, all things accounted for, we still show an increase in the fund balance of $73,000. So we are better than on the general fund balance. And the original budget that was out there, I didn't see it. We forgot to put the reserve fund in. It is in the one that Tammy passed out. So again, you'll see all of those funds are accounted for, as well as the expenditures we've discussed. I'll answer any questions you may have, but we've been over this a number of times, and I will not go through every line unless you want me to.
No questions.
Have a motion?
Motion to approve the ordinance adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2022 and ending on September 30th, 2023.
Second,
Second.
Tammy, roll call.
Councilmember Crandall. Councilmember Chapman.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro
Yay.
Tem Sam. 3 in favor, 0 against, motion passes.
Thank you. Number 9, discuss and consider scheduling September 26, 2022 for public hearing on the tax rate and adoption of the tax rate. Tammy?
This item is scheduling the September 26th for the public hearing on the tax rate and the adoption of tax rate. We need to have a supermajority of council present for that adoption. It has to be adopted before at this date, or the tax rate rolls down to the lower of the current tax rate or the no new revenue tax rate, which is 15 cents.
Yeah.
The notice has been republished, and this is just setting by law, meeting the standards, setting the public hearing or setting the adoption, the public hearing and the adoption of the tax rate for the 26th.
Is that one, Tammy?
Everybody will be.
6:30 p.m.
This is 6:30.
Everybody available on the 26th? We confirm that? Everybody's gonna be
Everyone
here?
is confirmed. they
I'll be
will
here.
there.
You'll be here, man.
I'll be here.
There is no turning back the notices.
Yeah.
The time.
You don't want to do it again?
Hey,
If it
they
doesn't
will be
happen,
here.
They will be here.
yeah, we can't reschedule it.
Right.
He's gonna
So
come
this
like
is
right
it.
here.
This is it.
Yeah, that would, if it rolls back, it would take about $130,000 out of the budget, so we
Yeah.
would no longer be
I'll
balanced.
go high.
Yeah, we'll be here.
That's a lot. That's a lot to take out of the budget, so. Discussion, other than we'll be here. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the scheduling of September 26th for the public hearing on the tax rate and the adoption of the tax rate.
Second,
Second.
Tammy? Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Sams.
Yay.
Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Crandall.
Aye.
3 in favor, 0 against, motion passes.
Thank you. Future agenda items, does anyone have anything for future agenda items? Nope. Time being 8:36, meeting adjourned. Thank you for your participation, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Job well done. Do what?